wholesaling SOS formula. We're going to spend a lot of time on not only identifying distressed sellers, but the direct to seller funnel marketing strategies to actually contact them with cost effective marketing. We're also going to talk about creative deal structuring, deal engineering, and also get to negotiating and closing these deals, and then how to build a buyer's list so that you can always have active qualified buyers, whether it's cash buyers or qualified buyers with financing, to be ready and able to purchase these properties when you find them. So that brings us to the last part of our three-part wholesaling business formula. Again, wholesaling SOS formula: sales, offers. I'm sorry, sellers, offers, and sales. And so you've identified the motivated sellers, you've made creative offers, and now you have to sell the deal. Okay, you have to sell the deal to buyers. So, Kevin, let's talk about building a buyer's list. Okay, so if you're going to build a virtual wholesaling business, it's one thing to find motivated sellers. It's one thing to know how to structure deals creatively to solve sellers' problems. But now you have to find buyers, find real buyers, not buyers who are saying they're buying but not buying. So why don't you kind of drop some nuggets and give folks ideas of how you can build a buyer's list in today's market?
Absolutely. So there are a number of ways. We don't have time to go through every single way of finding them, but I'll just touch on a couple right here because I know we'll get in more in depth in this at the boot camp. But if you have the capacity or budget, you can actually buy lists. It's a great way to find buyers. Understanding that public record is essentially public record. You can identify people that have purchased before and said, hey, okay, well, this person has picked up a property before. They are probably more likely to continue buying if they bought multiple properties. So that's one way of finding buyers. Another way of finding buyers, and I'm glad you said real buyers that are actually buying, Andre, because that's very
Absolutely.
important to understand, is that there are people that are, not as ethical and stating what they're doing as many of us are, because ultimately you can put relationships together and do deals with others that aren't necessarily buying, but you want to deal directly with the buyer that's going to maximize your return on investment of your deal. So another way to find buyers is, most of us have one of these, which is, a cell phone. Social media is a great place to start that conversation. Now, you obviously want to get a little bit deeper when you have that conversation and understanding, how you walk that person through, similar to a seller, of understanding exactly what their situation is. Buyers have situations as well. We talked about initially, what a deal is, and the fact that, deals aren't deals to every person. Well, we need to identify the buyers that are picking up properties like the ones we're already targeting. The worst thing you can do is continue to send a deal to a buyer that they don't buy that type of deal. If they're buying 100-unit apartment complexes and you're sending them row homes that are fixer uppers, they're going to delete your email immediately and probably remove themselves from your list after. So you have to understand who you're dealing with. You have to qualify those buyers properly and walk them through a short process to understand who they are and verify that they are who they are and that they meet the criteria of the deals that you are bringing to the marketplace essentially that you're building, because you are building your own personal marketplace of people interacting to do business. So you have to understand, and again, one way is buying a list if you have the capacity to do so. Another way is social media. Ultimately, you'll have to vet both of those types of individuals. Obviously, the one that you spend some money, going after is going to be a little bit more vetted because they've already proven that they can purchase based on the fact that they're on that list that you purchased. That's two ways you can find buyers. One is kind of more work, more, time consuming than the other, given the facts that are available. But ultimately, you can find buyers both ways, and you have to take them through that process of understanding what type of buyer they are, and the fact if they're going to be able to work with you with regards to the deals that you're trying to do to accomplish.
And so, folks, hopefully you've gotten great value on tonight's call already. At the very top, again, this is wholesaling deals in today's market, following the three-part process, the three simple step formula in wholesaling deals, whether it's to wholesale your first deal or to build a wholesaling business, and that is sellers, offers, and then sales. So we covered finding distressed sellers, we covered making creative offers, and now Kevin just dropped some gold nuggets on how to sell your deals. selling your deals to qualified active buyers, buying a list of buyers that have bought properties, let's say in the last 12 to 24 months. So spending money on building your buyers list by actually targeting buyers that have actually proven to buy properties by buying a list of cash buyers or qualified buyers of properties in the target area you're looking to wholesale, or spending time, whether it's your own time or hiring a virtual assistant to engage with active buyers on social media. There are plenty of social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, where you can search and filter, for example, Facebook groups of real estate investors, and in those groups you'll find people that are actively buying. And so those are two great ways, whether it's social media and targeting investors on real estate groups, or whether it's buying a list of buyers in the last 24 months in your targeted area. Both of those ways are going to allow you to find buyers. I'll drop another golden nugget for you guys. And so if you're looking to the fastest way to attract a qualified buyer to a property you have, there's no better way than to partner with a big time wholesaler that has a buyer's list already in place. For example, I've been doing this 20 years and have now over 80,000 investors in my quote unquote sphere of influence, whether it's investors on our meetup platform, in our email list, on our social media platforms, on our text messaging list, on our voice blast list, over 80,000 investors. And so nationwide, we have the ability, of course, to get a property out to a property that's a good deal, in front of active cash buyers and qualified buyers to actually, get a deal sold. And so one of the ways, folks, that you can, get your deal sold is by partnering, joint venturing with people that already have spent the money, that have invested the time, that have the credibility, that have a buyer's list already in place. So we just dropped three very, very, creative shortcut ways for you to build a buyer's list. And we're going to dive deep into this, of course, at the Wholesaling Bootcamp 2-day bootcamp, which is March 13th and 14th, 2 days online. It's going to be hands-on from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. both days at wholesalingdeals.com. You can register there. There's a early bird special discount, wholesalingdeals.com. So let's just recap that. So of course you can, start to prospect on social media. And one of the best ways to prospect on social media is to let people know what properties you're targeting, what areas you're targeting. Let people know, hey, that you are actively looking to build relationships with serious buyers. If anyone's interested, to DM you, their email address and phone number, and then you can reach out and have a conversation. You can go about it that way. Or if you actually have a property, you can post a property and ask for people that are seriously interested to contact you and give you their contact information. There's some more sophisticated ways to qualify them other than just taking name and phone number. That's how we all started, folks. I started that same way, just taking lists of names and phone numbers and putting them in spreadsheets. But there's more sophisticated ways to go about qualifying them with, forms, qualifying forms, where you can ask questions and then have their information dumped into a CRM, which would enable you to have automated follow-up and build rapport. We'll cover those things at the 2-day wholesaling bootcamp. We're just dropping some tips, some best practices here on this call to give you an idea of the things that you can do. You can take back some actionable items from this call, but we would love to spend a full 2 days with you to really deep dive into all these different strategies to help set up your wholesaling business, either to help you to wholesale a deal or two, to accomplish whatever quick cash goals you have, or for those of you looking to build a wholesaling business, we'll show you exactly how to do that to build a virtual wholesaling business. So any other thoughts, Kevin, on building a buyer's list outside of, joint venturing, partnering with wholesalers, people that already have an active list, or, working through building a list, social media, or buying a list?
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many different niche ways. I'll drop this one right here. This is a really golden nugget where I honestly take my students, a lot of students through it. Prior to COVID, a little bit easier to do, but after we'll continue to do that. Courthouses. Think about it. Through the public process, you have to do certain things. There is a process for evictions. Tenants unfortunately don't pay rent sometimes. And we're dealing with a really large situation right now in the US where rent is a big issue, and we're looking to try and get some resolution in that. But ultimately buyers have to go to court for that. So if you're hanging around a courthouse figuring out you know when those court evictions are, being able to say, okay, there's a docket of, multiple, evictions happening or hearings for eviction. If you're hanging around a courthouse for a day or two, a week, if you have the time to do so, you'll run into buyers. You'll run into individuals that own real estate that may be interested in selling, quite honestly, but ultimately they may be just long-term investors that are dealing with the situation and will rent that property out again. So that may be a person that you say, hey, well, I do have property in this neighborhood as well, or in this area. I'd love to connect with you because they're qualified. They're in court, putting a tenant out at that point. So that's a great place to just run into a buyer if you have the time to do so. So really go to Nugget there. It's a free resource. You have public access to the courthouse. Why not take advantage?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, folks, you can see here on tonight's call, we have dropped, some gold nuggets, whether it is finding distress motivated sellers or making creative win-win offers or selling your deals, by way of qualifying active cash or finance buyers. And so we're going to, again, deep dive into this wholesaling SOS formula, sellers, offers, and sales. We're going to show you how to build a direct to seller marketing funnel so you can find these motivated sellers. We're going to show you how to negotiate and creatively structure these deals. We're also going to deep dive into how to build your team, because you can't do this all by yourself. You have to build a team that consists of virtual assistants to help you qualify and prospect with your "Are you selling?" messages. You have to build a team of field team members that are out in the field that are able to do the due diligence, the site visits, photos and videos, so you can at least get some tangible data to really firm up those offers. You have to have project managers, contractors that at least in some cases, when necessary, fine tune a scope of work. So you might be able to go back and then renegotiate with the seller based off of your real numbers on repairs versus what they think repairs cost. These are all things that you have to do. And very importantly, we haven't mentioned yet, you have to have quality title people in your corner, because you have to have title companies that are able to get through all the muck that are sometimes associated with these properties that have liens, judgments on the sellers, that have deeds that may need some corrections done to them. These are all things that people don't talk about that have to be done in this business. We're going to talk about all this and then some at the 2-day wholesaling bootcamp. It's March 13th and 14th, 2 days, 2 full days. It's going to be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, March 13th and 14th. Really hope to see you there. You can sign up. It's a early bird special going on right now. Wholesalingdeals.com. I already seen some folks on the line say they've already signed up, looking forward to coming. I hope to see you there as well. Again, very interactive, hands-on. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions throughout the event. You'll have opportunities to see some case studies of how we get these deals done. We're not going to hold anything back. We're going to pull back the curtain and really show you the inner workings of each of our businesses. I'm actively investing, of course. I've never stopped over the 20 years since I started. Kevin's, active full-time wholesaler, and Reese will be doing some training as well. Is an active investor in wholesaling in multiple markets. So you're going to get the expertise of all three of us over this 2-day boot camp. Wholesalingdeals.com is the URL to go there and sign up. Wholesalingdeals.com. Hope to see you there. So let's see if we have any questions before we wrap up tonight. If you have a question, go ahead and get that question in before we sign off and wrap up. Kevin, if you want to take a look, I'm going to take a look as well. Make sure we don't miss any questions.
Question here
Okay.
that I wanted to address from Paruv. Is it a good time to enter the wholesaling and investing business? So I would say anytime is a good time to get involved in real estate, investing, and specifically wholesaling, because depending on what market cycle you're in, you're just doing things a little bit differently. And technology, when I started out, with Andre years ago, technology that's available, that today is available, was just non-existent. So the barriers have been broken down for you. I mean, there's just you didn't have ringless voicemails like you have now access. You didn't have the SMS, that we can put you in, be able to do. You didn't have a lot of the list sources that you can find, the distresses and all the different things you can target people. So my point is, it's a great time to get started because guess what? When the market changes, all you're going to do is use a different strategy to get things done. There's always money to be made in real estate, no matter what the situation is. If they're saying the sky is falling, in the economy, guess what? People are still making money in real estate and definitely wholesaling.
So
So
Kevin,
absolutely.
Kevin, great point. And so I think it was Peru asked that question, and so it's a great time to get into wholesaling, like you said, because wholesaling and the what you're going to build with your wholesaling business with your direct to seller marketing is something that's going to be step one or building block A for all other types of exit strategies that you will use in your real estate career. So if you decide not to wholesale it and you decide to keep the property, you still done the two steps of the three-step process. Finding distressed sellers, you've made creative offers. And so instead of selling the deal to someone else, you just decided to keep it for yourself. But guess what you've done when you kept the deal for yourself? You've just kept the deal with all of the additional equity locked in that you would have made in your wholesale fee. So if you'd have made a $20,000 or $50,000 wholesale fee, instead of making that wholesale fee, you just decide to keep that equity for yourself. Okay. And so that's why wholesaling is such a crucial part of your business and skill to keep long term, is because the front end of wholesaling, which is finding distressed sellers and making creative win-win offers, is something that will lead to you building a very lucrative real estate portfolio if you decide to keep the properties for cash flow. I think one of the attendees here said that you wholesale 3 and keep 1. That's a good formula. Wholesale 2 and keep 1. Wholesale 4 and keep 1. Whatever your ratio is, using the same strategies and tools that we'll show you at the 2-day wholesaling bootcamp to find these distressed sellers and make win-win offers to keep some of the properties and wholesale others is a great way to build your real estate business long term. So I want to let me see here. So someone said, "Well, you cover legal protection." So we're going to cover some legal protection strategies at the boot camp. I'll give you a couple that we'll cover. We'll cover some protection strategies of how to do double closings, how to do LLC transfers so that you can protect your interest in the property and not have someone come in and try to pirate or steal your deal. So we'll show you some strategies like that. So Kevin's been part two. I've been part two. Hundreds and hundreds of LLC transfers. I've been part two. Many land trust transfer deals where you assign the beneficial interest of a land trust. So there's many different ways that you can protect yourself with wholesaling, with documents, with LLCs, with structuring the deal so that you protect your wholesale fee. So we'll cover those things at the wholesaling bootcamp on March 13th and 14th. Hopefully we'll see you there. Again, March 13th and 14th, Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 full days. Hope to see you there. Hope to be able to help you to get started in wholesaling. Hope for those of you that have already been wholesaling for a while, hope to help you to be the foundation, the reason why you're able to build a virtual wholesaling business to make it possibly a stream of income that will lead to the changes of lifestyle, financial freedom, and happiness you're looking for. Any other